Welcome back to the Links Golf Club podcast, everyone. A weekly conversation and today technical troubleshooting show about our wonderful club and the world of golf. Thanks for bearing with us. We're trying to up the production quality. We're trying to improve some things here. So, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I'm Gregory, and as always, I'm joined by Cooper. Today, Chris wasn't able to make it, but he is here in spirit, and he will be back very soon. This week, Spey had its member guest. Ben Griffin won a new old car. I know Coops don't want to talk about that one. And the FedEx playoffs are changing again. Stick around to hear about these topics and a whole lot more. Cooper, how you feeling, buddy? Jet lagged?
A little bit jet lagged. We are coming in hot off of a Scotland trip, but feels good. Happy to be back, but also more excited than ever to head back over to Scotland in June for the solstice. Can't get enough of golf over there. But yeah, we're getting back into the swing of things. Got a lot of content to go through, a lot of good times, good memories, photos, videos to share with you all. But yeah, happy to be back stateside.
Sweet. I'm excited to see you. Really excited to have you back. We don't work in the same office, but like in the virtual office to have you back. And also excited for you to get back to the solstice because we have some fun stuff planned for that. A couple announcements here that I'll just knock out, Coop, and you can tell me if I forgot anything. Number one, there are still a couple of tree farm spots remaining. Spoiler alert, we'll be talking about top 100 golf courses today. Tree Farm is one of those, and it just seems like a great vibe. So it's not every day you have an opportunity to play Tree Farm. It's going to be in November. It's going to be great. You can go to links.golf/events to learn all about it, and we'll be excited to see you there. Also, have besides this live podcast that we're currently talking on as we live and breathe, there will also be the release of the second episode of Building Linkstyle. So we've started this sort of special project podcast series around what it takes to build a great club. And we had the GM of a top 100 golf course in Canada, 73 in the world, I believe, from memory, and also the GM at Spey, Burt McKay. And we really just unpacked operationally what it takes to have that high standard. It was great. I mean, they've known each other for a long time. They had some really cool conversations, but also we just learned a ton. And then we'll be recording another one tomorrow. Won't spoil that one yet, but it's been really fun just to kind of have these really deep conversations. So if you're excited about golf clubs, if you're excited about the golf business, these cannot be missed. Anything else, Coop, from you? Any other announcements that you want to talk through before we get started?
That's about it. We'll just to tag in Spey Bay again, talking about events, and there are like maybe I think 3 spots left for Ryder Cup. I know Greg's going to be there this year. He's regretted to miss it last year. If you are interested in heading out there, you have any questions about getting out to Spey Bay, let me know. Happy to help with all of those. And yeah, get ready to play some golf either stateside in Scotland or hopefully soon at Hillcrest as things warm up on that end.
Absolutely. Yeah, there were some pretty sweet images shared of the progress happening at Hillcrest, getting the people fired up. It's a little greener, just because it's a better season, but also just ton of earth movement happening right now, which is just a delight. So, yeah, Cooper, I mean, let's get right into it about Spade Bay member guest. We have, I believe, 4 events on the schedule, right? We have the member guest this year, we have the summer solstice, we have the Ryder Cup, and then we have the club championship. And these are all really fantastic opportunities to go to Scotland, obviously. Who doesn't want to go to Scotland? But also to take advantage of your membership, meet other members, meet local people, eat local food. I can't wait to hear about the food that you ate, but just kind of walk me through what the trip was like, kind of from end to end. Where'd you go? What'd you do? And then I have some follow up questions about golf and food.
Yeah. Started off, had a pretty good flight schedule. Philly to Heathrow, Heathrow to Aberdeen, rental car to Spey Bay. Not bad. Quick layover at Heathrow, but long enough for my clubs to make it. My parents use Shipsticks. Shout out to Shipsticks. If you have a short layover or you want to just make sure that your club's tracked to the club that you're playing with plenty of time in advance, that's a great tool to use. I like to keep mine on the plane, use the AirTag, and make sure it makes the flight. Um, Day one went to Castle Stewart, Cabot Highlands. Shout out to our friends at Cabot. They are building the new Tom Doak course right there in Inverness. Just a quick drive down the road from Spey Bay. So got to kick things off on that end. Just had a great morning there, and then headed to Spey Bay to play a couple of warm up holes with my parents and see, see Bert, see the clubhouse, and get kind of warmed up for the member guest. Went out. The new tee boxes were not set up yet, but saw kind of the difference from the video that we posted before, Greg, when we were out there, when a lot of it was still just very sandy and not grown in, to now, even though it's been a really dry spring there, like the driest in 50 plus years, a lot of those grasses have grown up really tall. They're germinating, and those areas are growing in super nicely. And then the actual tee boxes themselves are flat and mown with just beautiful cut, great grass. So great to see that, and then just build the excitement for actually playing it. The member guest was awesome. We had a bunch of folks come in from overseas. A couple folks missed their flights, unfortunately, so some of the local members filled in for some of those spots. Bert played as well, which was really cool, and we had our first new course record set on the new routing, which is really, really awesome. Got
What was it?
76 for
Okay.
amateur, and then Bert was hesitant to claim it, but as the only pro who played, he set the pro record at 73. So we have a new course record for pro
Gauntlet
and
thrown
amateur.
down.
Both are over par. If you're watching this and you want to go and take a shot at setting the new course record, let us know your results. Head over to Spey Bay, take a crack at the new routing. Um, I I was the first eagle on the new routing from 17, the new tee box up on the sea. I drove the green, almost hit our friend Wyatt on the box. I was trying to dial back, and this is Greg. You know how this is. When you hit a ball 80%, it goes further. I think I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna roll it
Center of
up.
the club face is a magical thing, my
It
friend.
really is. I teed off last. I knew they were still up there, getting ready to go from 17 to 18. And as they were walking off, I rolled it up right past the pin. So I had to give an apology for letting it rip a little early there, but almost hold it out. And yeah, was excited to play those new boxes. Course is
So
in great shape.
the new boxes. So you mentioned 17, and obviously, if you're listening, and you don't know what we're doing. There's sort of a two-prong approach to Spey Bay right now. One is these new boxes are just going to improve normal play, and it does completely change the hole. I mean, I haven't played it yet in the new boxes, but that's one. But the other thing is that it opens up the reversible routing for these holes as well, right? So as you mentioned last time we were there, they were all sand. We couldn't even play off them because they just had it's a complete new golf course, basically, right? So 17 you mentioned. Do you remember the other tee boxes? I'm hazy on the details.
Yeah. Sorry for the disconnection there. I think we're back up. We've got 17 and 18 are new tee boxes along the
Mm.
coast. We also have new tee boxes. Well, it's actually the old championship tee on 18 is playing as the new number 2 tee box, which makes that kind of drivable as well. Cool new
Mm.
angle with some risk and reward there. A great new complex of tee boxes from the fourth tee, which changes that par three really dynamically. You know how
Can't
to
wait
go
to
for a
play that.
burn. It's I have goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah,
It's
I can't
such
wait
a
to play
cool
it.
spot on the course. And
Mhm.
that leads you up to the new fifth tee box, which is the highest point on the course. So previously, you play the first kind of 5 or 6 holes on Spey Bay away from the coast, and you didn't really get a good look at the sea. Now, on 2, 4, and 5, you're getting incredible views where you can see almost every single hole on the property. Really opens the whole course up and makes five a really challenging and interesting shot, a risk reward shot. You can lay up really easily, or you can kind of go for it in a way that you couldn't before. Uh, just remarkable shift in kind of the layout and experience in the first few holes, as well as the finishing holes on the course.
Yeah, I think the biggest sort of complaint with people who played Spey Bay in the past was that one, two, and three were basically the same hole. And now that is very much not true. And then that par three, four is a little long. You're kind of basically just like hitting into this. Used to, you were kind of hitting into this forest backdropped par three that just didn't really feel connected to the rest of the property. And just from the video I've seen, it looks awesome. So can't wait to go back and do that. How about was the double green in play yet? I know that like the grass is still growing, but was that like in play at all?
So it's been really dry. You can
Yeah.
see the where it's been patched in with new turf, but it was not in play yet. The really cool element of that is going to be when it's in reverse and you play it
Yeah.
as the reversible par three from up at the eighth green complex. Still a little bit more gorse to remove there. That'll grow in, and then you'll have just an awesome green complex on that high to low shot back towards the sea at that end of the course, which doesn't have that today. But yeah, it's growing in really nicely. You can walk over. It's not quite ground. It's past the point of being ground under repair, but it's not mown short enough to be uh, puttable right now. It's still kind of fairway, but it's looking good. It's coming in.
Sweet. And then, how was the game? Like, Scotland golf's a little bit different. There's wind. I think it finally rained after what, like 1,000 days of no rain.
Since
So that was
February,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So how was your game? How did it travel? How'd you play? You've been there now. This is your fourth time, right?
Yes, fourth time over. Just keeps getting better every time I go.
Mhm.
My game, however, while it's improved stateside back into single digits and hanging on there, um, the wind out there can just play havoc with your game. And I hit a bit of a spinny shot off the tee, so I lost a few balls despite there being even less course out there. I definitely let my playing partner down on the back nine of the second day of the scramble. Shout out to my mom. We used a lot of her shots out there,
Great.
especially on like par fives and stuff, which regrettable, but it came and went, right? It's just a different type of golf out there. You really have to keep the ball low. You got to play running shots, and I was just swinging for the fences and didn't have my best stuff for the member guest. Luckily, found it
Yeah.
again for Gullin the next day, but hopefully I'll be bringing it back for the solstice.
Yeah. You just got to get the ball across the plate, right? Like, throw a bunch of change ups. You got to be creative out there. What's your current favorite hole?
Ooh. 17. I mean, I closed out the eagle. It's that drivable
Sure.
finishing hole. Yeah, it's really good. I think 17's up there. 11 is looking better and better by the day. I think I lost 3 balls on 11, but it's a really cool spot. And then the 7th and 10th, the double fairway with the double green there, leading up to 8, also just honorable mentions.
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited about to go back and play it. I'm going to be at the Ryder Cup, and 14 traditionally has been my favorite hole. I just really, really like that hole. And 15, the par three. So I'm excited to see all the changes because it definitely, you kind of fall asleep for the first couple, which is fine. You kind of want a handshake. It's not like there's a driving range. You're waking up, you're stumbling at 4:30 in the
There
morning to go
is
play
a
golf.
driving
But
range, but by the way, you can there we have between 18 and the sea. There's that additional valley. It's self shag. You hit your own. You hit
sure,
a
great.
one of those goodie bags of golf balls, and then you go walk out and you pick them up. But we have 2 driving range turf tee boxes, and yeah, you can get your warm up shots in.
I was not aware of that. See,
Oh
you
yeah,
get there, you get all the alpha. Because I think when we did the reversible routing, we teed off back over there and hit it as like a dog leg left over that, which I don't even, what was that before? Was that a different hole traditionally?
no, it's just like Bert
Just
has it
grass.
mown short. Bert and David have it mown shorter, and there's even flags out there. I think I wouldn't hit more than a 7 iron out there, or you're kind of getting out into some higher grass and the beach. But yeah, you can definitely get some swings in.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's great. What about last question, food? Just anything new you had, or what were some highlights culinarily speaking?
Didn't have any haggis this time, but definitely went back to the Colin Skink as a favorite.
I love
Enjoyed
Colin.
that. We also had some really good fresh fish from the Seafood Bothy. It's kind of like a fresh fish food truck kind of delivery thing that we had. They catered the Saturday night there. Um, yeah, always great food up there. It's different. It's surprising we had some sausage and bacon rolls for breakfast before going out in the morning.
So good.
Yeah, but Burton and the staff, Louis, and the clubhouse always kept us well fed. And then the best part is the new Osprey nest out there at the 7th tee box. You come up 6, it's sitting right there. Cold drinks, good snacks, good food keeps you going out there when you're about, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours in and ready to make the turn. You've got replenishment out there. So definitely exciting to see that in action. And what a great addition. I mean, we played Golan, and there's nothing out on that golf
Yep.
course, right? A much, much higher priced outing. And yeah, if you're not bringing water or snacks with you, you're cooked for the next 4 hours. So something that I think really sets Spey Bay apart is having that at an out and back course. Um, where you can get some replenishment, get some fresh drinks, and keep you going.
Yeah, it's perfect too because you hit it multiple times throughout a round too. It's just like this very natural congregating spot on the property. Just shout out to the Osprey Nest team. Cool. Well, anything else you want to say before we move on to some pro golf stuff?
Nah, let's do it. My golf's boring. Let's keep it moving.
But Scotland isn't.
No.
All right, so I'll just do a quick hit on this, Coop. I kind of mostly have a question with you that's car related, so you can get excited about that. But feel free to chime in with any of your thoughts. I know you were traveling, so you might not have watched the Charles Schwab. But this week, Ben Griffin won. He was 12 under. He just edged out Matty Schmid, who was 11 under. Ben Griffin now, as of recently, is a two-time PGA Tour winner. He won the Zurich Classic with Andrew Novak. He was also T8 at the PGA Championship, so he's sort of coming on. He's sort of, he's a young guy, but he's getting there. This is a developing story. He gained 3.33 strokes in the field according to Data Golf. He was third in putting, 18th and around the green, 36th in approach, 24th off the tee, but fourth tee to green. So when we talk about strokes gained a lot, like it's always very interesting to see who wins. Like obviously, the total strokes gained winner is typically going to win. But it's interesting to see like where people do well and don't. Like we've seen this with Scotty a couple times where he's had some wins where he was pretty mid in some areas, but like really stood out tee to green. But yeah, fourth tee to green for Ben, big deal. Really liking to see, and hopefully that's pretty sustainable going. And he also moved up to 13th in the Ryder Cup rankings. A little bit of recency bias there, but that's going to be an interesting story to watch. But I think sort of most importantly for me, the reason why I like this tournament, it's not so much the golf course, it's not so much the financial adjacency with Charles Schwab. It's that over the last couple of years, they've given out what they basically have rebranded as a Schwab then vintage car, right? So this year it was a 1992 Defender, which on the broadcast, they give the CEO time to talk, and he's like, it's always kind of the part you go to the bathroom, but like they introduced the car. Talk about that was like a really big deal for them in the company's history because they were doing something that I wasn't really paying attention on. But then they show the car. There's actually a really great website where you can go and you can see all the cars. And so the 92 Defender, technically a Schwab Defender, they're all the same color blue and they look sweet. I love old cars. Past winners, there was a 72 Bronco that looks sweet, a 79 Firebird, which is really close to my favorite car of all time, a 76 Trans Am, a 46 Power Wagon, and a 73 Schwab Challenger. I think that was when Sam Burns won. So I guess Cooper, you're playing in this tournament. What would be the old Schwab car that you would be most excited to win?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, I feel like the Schwab Defender, it came with those LL Bean fly rods, like
Sweet.
custom, the
Yeah.
fishing. I mean, that's a cool car. I would probably go something a little smaller
Mm-hmm.
than the kind of SUV vibe. Maybe something along the lines of a Shelby or a vintage Mustang. I think that'd be kind of a cool look.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it domestic.
Mm-hmm.
Along the lines. I think they're doing that with the Firebirds and everything else. But that'd probably be my pick. Kind of a restored muscle car.
Yeah. I think it's the sweetest prize, like non-financial prize. Obviously, he also won a bunch of money. I think he's won 2.5 million over his last like four tournaments, which has to be big for him. But yeah, that car, that would be the one tournament besides obviously the plaid jacket of the RBC. But the vintage car, it's a great way to make something in this time between the PGA Championship and the U.S. Open somewhat interesting, and I think they do a really good job with the website of getting people excited about it. So shout out to that. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's fly fishing, it's golf, it's blue, it's my favorite color. The 92 Defender is pretty sweet. I'd probably go with since they've already done a Challenger, they've already done a Firebird. I really like those 70s muscle cars. Um, I'm gonna do like an International Scout from like the late 70s, which is basically the same thing as a Defender, but I've just always wanted an International Scout. I think they're sweet. All right, so then
Good call.
kind of preview Memorials coming up. Played at Muirfield Village, always a tournament that people pay attention to. It's a signature event. It's in Dublin, Ohio. It's a Jack Nicklaus course. It's been hosting the same tournament since 1976, which is pretty sweet to have some longevity there. I guess, Coop, how many times do you think Jack has won it? It's his course, it's his design, it's his tournament. How many times do you think Jack Nicklaus won it?
6.
Twice. Which I was kind of surprised by. You'd think that just like in 70s and 80s, they just throw him out there and he would just win. But
Clean up.
but yeah, he really had to go out there and get it. Scotty has 22.5% odds on Data Golf right now. He's plus 280 on FanDuel, at least this morning. Other guys to watch: Morikawa, Fleetwood, Connors, Thomas, Sander, Cantlay, who's kind of fading a little bit. would love to see him fall off the Ryder Cup ranking. Scotty won it last year. He was 8 under. So, it's a tough-ish golf course. It's obviously not going to be the test they're going to see at Oakmont. But Cooper, anything you're looking forward to? Tournament you watched in the past? Any storylines you're looking for?
Um, I'm excited to see kind of who comes into form. Perhaps gets a top 10 coming into the U.S. Open. Less really about the winners for me and kind of seeing who's showing up and really practicing and trending for the U.S. Open. So, would love to see Oberg, kind of recover from last week, do something new. But of course, those ball strikers. Love to see Fleetwood win something. That drought just
That'd be great.
continues. I'm gonna keep picking him.
The weight gets heavier and heavier and
It
heavier.
does. It does get heavier. I don't know. How about you? What's one of your favorites for this week?
I just want to see Scotty continue to win. I mean, I'm like just all in pro legacy right now, and I want to squeeze out as many Scotty wins as possible. Which is a really boring take. Morikawa was second last year, and I think my second priority is certainly Ryder Cup. There's a lot that's going to happen over the next couple of months as we sort of lean towards that team being picked. Uh, so I would love to see some guys show up, and whether it needs to be, you know, a guy like Ben Griffin, and that means we don't have Cantlay, but Ben Griffin can show up and he can get us some points, then like I'm cool with that. But I want to see the Ryder Cup standings shake up a little bit. I want to see some guys compete because my biggest worry going in is that there's going to be this, home turf complacency. It's at Bethpage. It's one of the great American golf courses. Europeans should be scared by the Long Islanders and New Yorkers who are going to be yelling at them. I'm really worried about the Ryder Cup, so I need to see a lot more of guys playing well. So it's way too early to be thinking about that, but that's honestly the through line that I approach every single one of these tournaments. It's just like, is this guy who's like way down traditionally in the standings, is he showing something? Is he sparking now so that we can see just a better overall team? And I'm very curious to see what Keegan does with his picks.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, speaking of things down the line that are coming up, I saw some news about the Tour Championship, kind of a press release. Uh, it's always been kind of a subject of debate, this starting lineup with additional strokes given to folks coming in based on how they performed all season. What are your thoughts on this? I'm going to drop the link to the photo in chat here. Give us your thoughts in the comments. But what do you think about these changes? I guess they're not proposed; they're from top down, defined already.
yeah, I don't really care. I mean, I have a take on what I wish it was, but I think my point is that I don't really care. And this didn't make me care any more or any less than I already did or didn't care. Looking online, I mean, obviously this broke yesterday. I think like most of the camps that people had who did care were either great, it seems to be better. Like I always thought the starting strokes thing was stupid. I'm glad to see a harder setup, and I'm interested to see the changes that they make to the qualification system. Blah 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 blah. I just think that like every other sport, the playoffs matter the most, and it's the one time that ratings spike. It's the one time people who don't care, and the fact that golf's playoffs don't matter at all is stupid to me. So I'll give you what I like how I would design it in a second after I get your thoughts on this, but I don't really care. I think the other side of people are like, well, it's unfair because like, what's the point all regular season? You stand out all season, you earn the most points, and you don't get an advantage in the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense. There's no real seeding like you would get if you had the best record in the NFL. You get a bye. Like there's always some advantage to being good, so that way some guy doesn't just get hot at the end and steal a tour championship, which is going to make it matter less to anyone who cares. So this is sort of a nothing burger to me, but it definitely got me thinking last night of how I wish it would work, and I'm sure I'm an island there, but I'm happy to walk through that. But I guess first, what are your thoughts about it? Like, do you pay attention to the tour championship? Is it like, was it broken to you? Does this fix it? Like, what are your thoughts?
I definitely pay attention to it. I love the playoffs, right? The concept. It should be like you said, the culmination of the whole season. I enjoy watching it. I really like the venue, East Lake too, where
Mm-hmm.
they host it, seeing the competition there. I agree, and I guess I'm kind of with you on like I don't really care what the format is. Like it's just the end. It would be way more exciting to me if it were something different. There was more built, more more of a culmination, more hype driving it, more of a you know, perhaps like go crazy with it, make it seeded match play, like playoffs kind
Spoiler
of
alert.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean like go nuts with it. Is that that's where you take it? I mean that would be so cool to see these guys perform in some different way. But what it is today, it's fine. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll I'll tune in. I'll watch it. The prize money's massive. We've seen some really cool finishes walking up that 18th at East Lake. So hopefully we'll see something like that again. But
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
All right. So here's my pitch, right? And again, I am a match play maxi. It's the thing that I care about the most. Been watching the NCAA's recently. I watch the USAM every year. I love the Ryder Cup. We do not currently have a match play tournament on the tour. We used to have one. We
R.I.P.
don't
Dell.
anymore. R.I.P. Dell. Both Michael Dell, who might be dead. I don't know.
Still
He
left.
might be alive, might be dead.
We
Jane
just
Goodall, not dead.
Jane
But
Goodall still left. We just stopped
right.
killing people off on the
I don't
show.
know. I mean, you got a 50-50 chance. It's like a Schrodinger's box. All right. So I think that they need to desperately get something right at some point. And I think like I'm a big fan of iterating, right? We do that as a community. We iterate, we try new things out. That's a comfort spot for me is try something, see if it works. But it always has to be in service to some greater goal, right? And instead it always feels like the PGA Tour is just sort of groping in the dark and they're reacting to ratings, they're reacting to player sentiment, they're reacting to sort of corporate hospitality and sponsorship sentiment. And they just like, they need to build towards something. And it's interesting to watch the Olympics, who has invented something out of nothing that I truly do think people will care about over time. Like, even if they tweak little things here and there, fine, that's part of it. But I do think they're building towards something that 20, 30, 40 years from now, I think people will really care about. It'll be an important event. It was exciting this past year. I think it'll only continue to get so as international players continue to get not only great as they always have been, but just even better and just start to dominate more. So I think that they have to have a vision and they have to commit to something. And so here's what my thing would be. My starting place would be just base it off of the U.S. Amateur. That'd be like the starting place for me. It reintroduces match play, but still has stroke play. It also allows for, at least I think, a lot more interest in viewing for new golfers who they desperately need to attract. Right, so they've tried TGL, they've tried all this stuff. They're getting housed by YouTube Golf. Let's try to make something really exciting. So here's my constraints. I wouldn't change sponsors or obligations. I would commit to changing venues, although you can't do that in the short term. That's hard to do, but I think they got to play better golf courses. Um, so this year, keep it the same, but in the future, commit to fantastic golf courses. They have to do that. Then I wouldn't necessarily change significantly who qualifies. I wouldn't touch points. But I would declare one winner, but I still want to have some advantage. So those are my goals and constraints. So I think introduce the concept of like in hockey they have the President's Trophy. In baseball they used to just have the pennant before they had the playoffs way back in the day. So if you have the highest regular season points, you get something cool. Like it should matter, it should mean something. You've been great over the course of an entire season. So just at the end of the year, have a ceremony, do something cool. Great, you won. Um, and I wouldn't have points reset going into the playoffs necessarily. They should matter for seeding. But here's what I would do: 70 people qualified for the Jude. I think it's a fantastic charity. I think it's a very important event for that community. I don't love that golf course. Play it somewhere else, but still give all the money to Jude. Still call it the Jude Classic. Sure, do a good thing. Play a better golf course. But 70 people qualify for the Jude, and it's stroke play, pretty much how it is now. Then I would have 50 people qualify for the BMW. Again, play better courses, do stroke play, great. Then the one change I would have right now, 30 make it to East Lake. I would bump that down to 28. And then I would have championship match play seeded by total points. So all the points that have been accrued up to that point, you seed everyone 1 to 28. And then the top four players get buys on Thursday, so they don't have to play. And then Friday, Saturday, would be 18 hole matches by seeds. So the people who had buys go in and play, stack it up, restack it every day. Not just like basic brackets that are chalk, like really make sure the matchups are good. And that way you have Thursday, a lot of excitement, Friday, a lot of excitement, Saturday, a lot of excitement. And then you get to Sunday, you do 36 holes, 1v1 match play, just like the USAM, and the winner takes all. Now, my last thing would be I think they should play this. And I know people love Eastlake. I think Eastlake is also a very important story. Everything that's happened, you have the Bobby Jones stuff, you have the renovation of the neighborhood and everything else. So you can keep the charity component, but I would move the Players Championship to that moment instead. It's gonna be hot as shit, fine, but play it at TPC Sawgrass. I think it'd be a great match play course. I think that down the stretch would be fantastic on Sunday and that 36 hole event. They have to like just grind their way through. It's the end of the season. They're going to get a bunch of time off after this. But the last thing I would say then is just make it a major. Just decide right now, this is the fifth major. The PGA Tour doesn't have a major that they put on, right? For a lot of reasons, but they don't. You have the R&A, you have the PGA of America, and you have the USGA, and then you obviously have Augusta. But this would be the PGA Tour's major. Put it on a Friday. We used to have stroke play in the PGA Championship. You bring it back here. You make it a grind. And then on Sunday, just remember Sunday at Augusta what we thought we were going to get. We thought we were going to get Bryson versus Rory. We ended up not, but then we got, Rory and Rose, right? But just imagine a Sunday 36 holes where it's Bryson versus Rory at a Sunday, or Scotty versus Morikawa, or whatever the matchup is, and it's 36 holes. It's all day. You're having a party from beginning to end. You're watching with the highest stakes possible, and it's a major that has to matter. So that's my long-winded pitch. Obviously, it's flawed in a ton of ways. I'm sure there's a lot of ways where they wouldn't do it, but that's what I would do.
I love it. I think that's fantastic. The drama would be unbeatable. The build up would be great. Um, I have a question. Who decides, like, is that what a major is? Like, can we just all collectively be like, this is a major now?
Sure.
Like, can who?
Yeah.
Because it's a bunch of different. There's no bigger umbrella organization that's just like you're now a major.
Yeah. We
So
all decided that Chappell Roan is like the biggest star in the world, music. So like, why can't we decide that this should be a fifth major?
let's have it at
It's
the Pink Pony
complicated.
Club. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
people
Yeah.
talk about this like, should the players be counted as a half major? Because it's just like I don't want halves. I just like let's just do it. At some
Sure.
point, these all became majors. The USAM used like it's not like when Bobby Jones won his Grand Slam, he won the Masters. The Masters didn't exist, right? So at some point, we decide it's going to be these things. Why not now? And I think the reason why I would say that is because like again, you got to build towards something. Like make it important, make the stakes high, and what better way to do that than a major? I'm sure there's a lot of people who would, no, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But create history now. Like history is created at some point. Do it today.
Absolutely. And I don't want to skip, but we'll get to this later. Perhaps maybe there's some element of live reconciliation or merger that could create the fifth major or resolve some of this issue. Do it all at once. One fell swoop, right? Solve these
Sure.
problems. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that now because it also came out this past week that it's something that we all should have remembered, but I think someone like looked into it and then reported it. But there's a lot of contracts that are ending at the end of this year, and so we've been in this hell of is there gonna be a reintegration? They had their January 6th or whatever the day was where they all came together and they said, okay, maybe it was July 6th. I don't know. They all came back together and like, okay, we're working towards a deal. Do you have like any guesses on what you think is going to happen? Like these contracts are over. Number one, they said the new contract is not going to be as lucrative,
Right.
but they're no longer beholden to live. But they also, I'm sure, going back to the PGA Tour is complicated. So any guesses you have on that?
Well, I would ask you this: if you're like DJ, right, or somebody, the deal's not going to be as good. Would you prefer to play live for way less money, or would you try to get your way back into the tour? If it were you,
I mean, I would say probably just play on live. I mean,
really?
just like realistically speaking, it's just it doesn't. Like I think I think a lot of people on Twitter would be like, "Oh, you got to go play for something. It's got to mean something to I don't know. I mean, you get a lot of money at the end of your career anyway. It seems like their lifestyles are better and they're used to taking a ton of shit from the media. That like, it's hard to turn that down. And I think realistically, it's not like Dustin Johnson's going to go off and like win a bunch on the PGA Tour anyway. He hasn't
Or
been
like
relevant
Brooks
in a while.
or one of these guys, right? Like I feel like
Sure.
some of these guys really do want to compete. Um, but I also don't think that Liv is just gonna let them, walk away, right? There's and the PGA Tour is also gonna say, hey, you bailed. We're not just gonna welcome you back in with open arms. So I
Yeah.
think that it's definitely really complicated. I know Rom joined later, but his contract I think says another full year. These guys
He's just
who
going to be alone over there with like
it could happen. It could be
Joaquin
just
Neiman and him just playing match play
the
every
John
week.
Rom show. Yeah, we'll see how it breaks out. I mean, I personally would, if I had taken the money, which, no one's offered me a $600 million check before, but like maybe I would have gone over there. But at this point, seeing how it's all shaken out, seeing the viewership, maybe the lifestyle's better. But I think there has to be some type of an agreement going across that solves this for the players. Um, I don't think it's going to be solved by who's writing the bigger checks or at this point. I think that we're past that era.
Yeah, and I don't know how much leverage. It's hard to think who has the leverage, right? Like at the end of the day, Justin Johnson's contract is up. Like they've already said in the media, like yeah, it's not going to be that much money. What do you have to negotiate? Like it's not your results, it's not your draw. Like you're an aging superstar, so uh, you know, on an open market, where else are you going to take your talent? I don't know. Like to your point, it's not like I think that Dustin Johnson just come back to the PGA Tour next year. I don't think that's in the realm of possibility. I think staying, you know, whittle away in obscurity, sure. I mean, he's always going to be a draw because he's Dustin Johnson, right?
Sure.
But I think it'll be much more interesting to see. I think DeChambeau is going to be a much more interesting situation. I think the rest of the guys probably not much, but Rom and DeChambeau, especially DeChambeau's contract ending in 26, it'll be super interesting to see what happens. And I'd have to bet at this point we're not going to get like anything done by then. Like I don't. They've been talking about it for years. I just don't see it happening. So
Tiger was at the White House. We have a golf president. You never know what'll shake out here. How geopolitics will come into play. But
we also have a crypto president.
hey, links coded. I mean, it's all coming up links. Yeah.
Yeah,
Drop us your comments if you have a solution to the Live PGA contract situation. Let us know.
yeah,
We'll pass it along.
absolutely. So next thing here, big week for golf nerds. List new Golf Digest top 100 lists are out. They did both America's 100 greatest. They also did the next 100, which requires a Golf Digest Plus subscription, which as a Links member you can get that pretty easily. But also they did the top 100 publics. So I don't want to spend a bunch of time on this. We've talked about course rankings in the past, but anything that stand out to you, Cooper, as you were looking at the list?
Um, I think there was one shift in the top 10. I think Pebble lost a spot. Went out to 12. Is that right? Let me pull it up here.
I'm pulling it up now. Having to scroll from
I
top
was
to
I
bottom.
was looking at this and then I went to Scotland and it fell out of my brain.
Fair.
Um,
So it was chalk 1, 2. So you
yeah,
have
Arana make it 100. I thought was interesting. I felt like that was just a nod to like we have to keep it in here because it's the venue next year. Living in Philly, we're getting bombarded with ads for that, but I thought that was interesting. That being a on the cusp, a bubble course, as you could say.
yep. Yeah,
Um,
Pebble Beach moved up to 9 from 12.
that's what it was.
And then Fisher's Island bumped back to 10.
Right.
Um,
Seminole fell out of the top 10 as well. Um, Dropped back to 12. I thought that was interesting. And then you got Pine Valley, Augusta, Cypress Point. I did see another list that's put Cypress Point ahead of Pine Valley, which was really interesting because it's usually pretty steadily there at number one. Um, I thought those were interesting, but mostly it was the switcheroo between Seminole and Pebble that caught my attention. How
yeah.
about you?
I mean, it's kind of like I love Bill Simmons, and he talks about NBA player. Like there's always these arguments about who's number one, who's number two, who's number three, like in the stack rank. And I think like we talked about in the past, like kind of what went behind our little side project punch bowl and like thinking through how this works. And like to me, who's one or two or three as a number one, someone who maybe will play some of these golf courses once in my life, possibly if people are nice to me. It's hard to care. Like obviously, like who's number one matters, but is Seminole 12 or 9? Like we're splitting hairs here, and I think they did talk a lot about how this was the most data driven, ranking list of all time. I'd love to talk more to them about how they did it, but yeah, I think it's interesting to see. Like obviously, for us having golf courses, these lists matter. They matter for marketing. They matter for notoriety. Showing up on one of these lists becomes something that people talk about and people know you for. And on the episode that we're going to release today with John from St. George's in Canada, like there's certainly a quality bar that like it's no surprise that they're such a highly rated golf course because of how they think about everything from golf to hospitality, and just the quality bar is really high. So I think it's nice the same way that Michelin star are really nice. I mean, obviously they're stacked rank lists in restaurants too. Like they have the world's best restaurants list. But at the end of the day, like if something moves a couple points, it's not as interesting to me. Obviously, you had some new stuff show up. I think I'm always interested to see when a course opens and then how quickly does it get into the top 100, especially the public list. I think the public list is a little bit more interesting because you just know like, oh, cool, I can go play these courses. And, seeing Pinehurst 10, I think was the second highest ranked Pinehurst course on that list behind number 2 was interesting. But it's definitely the kind of thing that you just look at, you look at all the pictures, you read everything, and you start to make a list of like, man, I would love to play these courses, and you're like reassessing your own bucket list. So it's always it's always a day, and it's always a day on the calendar. It's like the NFL release of the schedule of when this comes out. Everyone talks about it, and it's one of the things that I do wonder is the article that I read was from Golf Digest talking about have golf course architects figured out their way to hack the list. And it's like, okay, you're starting to kind of just create content, which is what it is, like obviously, but I'm just waiting for like the YouTube video with the thumbnail and like, it's a business. So I don't know, but it is kind of weird. Like how much of this are they trying to be like controversial by putting something in one place versus the other so that people go to the website? I don't know. I kind of hope not. I hope there's more rigor in their scientific method than that.
That is interesting, right? Like if the list were pretty static, right, it'd be less clicks, less views, less interesting. As for the architects kind of hacking their way onto the list, I mean, we're in the golf course business, Greg. Like we're trying to hack our way onto the top 100 Great Britain and Ireland, with Spey Bay. We're thinking about ways to do it with the reversible routings and doing interesting and unique things. And ultimately, like golf is entertainment, from the bottom to the top, right? Whether you're playing mini golf or top golf or playing at Pine Valley or Augusta, it's entertainment. So that's the objective, right? Create a cool experience and do something fun, whether you're rating, ranking, or hitting. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Well said. Well said. So let's kind of like finish this off a little bit with just got to say like Dream is dead on Georgia Tech. I wish Chris was here to talk about it. He talked us into rooting for Georgia Tech. We rode hard for them. We stuck our necks out. I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. They showed up. They qualified for the tournament. By the way, if you haven't watched the NCAA, it astounds me that it's not more popular. Like March Madness has obviously cornered the sporting universe for an entire month. You coined this May Madness. Love it. Like I don't understand why more people in golf that I follow or talk to, interact with, no. And one of them is they just do a terrible job marketing it. Like they just have to take it more seriously. If you're a golf fan and if you watch March Madness, if you watch the national championship or the college football playoff, God forbid you watch in Omaha baseball, if you're a real sicko, like they just have to do a better job because there's so many golf fans out there that should care about this. And it's hard to find. It's hard to follow. It's hard to know where to watch. I have to set a calendar. Like I don't have to do this for any other must-see sporting event. I've never put on my calendar to watch the Super Bowl, to watch a Bills game, to
Right.
watch an NBA playoff game. I just know when it's happening. I have absolutely no idea. Like I recorded it so I can go back and watch it because I missed some, and I'm gonna tune in. Today is the final championship for the team event. It's great. It's match play. It still has a bunch of strokes to qualify. You have the individual stuff happening at the same. It's all kind of confusing. You read through it 100 times, you still don't really get it, but it's awesome. So shout out Georgia Tech for trying. Yellow Jackets disappointed Calvin Johnson a little bit, but they still gave it their best. They did miss the cut. There was some excitement there for a second. They had to play a playoff with Lake Forest, but pretty quickly got trounced on the next day. Um, weren't really in contention at any point, but we got some exciting golf to watch today. I'm excited to have that on in the background. And it's a really, really fun event. And I'm glad, part of the reason we chose a team was just to have something to care about. And similar to like picking a TGL team is more fun than just like randomly watching it. So do you have anything nice to say about our boys? Like any sort of culminating ideas around our journey becoming Georgia Tech golf fans?
Um, you get them next year. You know, there's
Yep.
always next year for the non-seniors. I think it's been interesting to dial in a little bit on this. You're right. It's not marketed well. I think they need some branding or some solution there. Definitely gonna post a link. Maybe we'll do a watch party for the finals or something in Discord.
Yeah, we should put our money where our mouth is. That's a
Yeah,
good point. We
give
didn't. We didn't. It's not like we did a good job either. So
no. Let's think about that. How we can get folks out there who support the teams that are left. Maybe we'll drop some info and take a pick here as a community, see who we can support for the remainder of the playoffs. Um, but yeah, it's interesting the way that's crumbled. And yeah, shout out to our boys, Georgia Tech. We'll get them next season.
Jackets. Should get a big letter hat. Jackets across it.
Jackets.
Jacks. Jack.
JKTS.
JCS. Oh, J's. I like it. All right, cool. Well, that's all I got. So let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching. Sorry again for the delay starting. We're figuring this out on the fly. But we have some more improvements to production quality coming over time, which I think will only make the listening/watching experience even better. On behalf of Chris and Cooper, I want to say thank you for listening and watching today. To all listeners, again, just want your feedback. Tell us what things you'd like us to talk about, what kind of questions you have. Again, any guests you'd like to hear from. We got the special project Building Link Style coming out today, so be on the lookout that in all your feeds. Follow, subscribe. That way you get notified when we produce something new. And as we've been saying, we got some really exciting content coming in over the summer. Cooper shot a bunch of awesome stuff at Spey. Bay. We have some more Hillcrest stuff coming out, so just be on the lookout for that. We're trying to get as much content in your eyeballs as possible. So thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.